Excuse me, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. I guess first business is the pledge to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I guess, hi Mary. I guess we start with the public audience. One thing I would like to let you know, I don't know how many of you are actually members of the public who plan on attending other meetings. We are going to be putting out schedules and dealing with certain issues on certain days. If those issues are of interest to you, that would be great if you came out and spoke on them. I would appreciate it if possibly you could limit your comments to subjects that are on the agenda for that evening. It'll make it a lot easier for us. It'll make it a lot easier for you. Be much more efficient. So, I mean, you're entitled to say anything you want, but it would be great if you kind of stuck with the agenda. It'll make things a lot easier. Plus, we'll probably remember it. Okay?
Excuse me, point of order.
Sure.
This is a public hearing, not a public audience.
Mm-hmm.
Legally, there's...
No, that's what I said. You can speak to anything you want. I'm just making a suggestion, not now, for the other meetings if they want to.
Yeah, okay. Because in your nomenclature, you said it was going to be a public audience, so I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure that it
Okay.
was officially a public hearing.
Okay, fine, thank you. Would anybody like to speak from the public? I had a feeling. Ms. Coe, please.
I'm Joan Coe, petitioning candidate for first selectman and a 40-year resident of the town with very strong views as to why Simsbury needs to change from a first selectman to a town manager form of government. I'm the only candidate promoting this position. Simsbury, with a population of approximately 23,500 residents, is one of the last remaining towns with a first selectman form of government. The consultants hired to review town government recommended a professional town manager for Simsbury. Anita Millard was a member of the Charter Revision Commission when a minority report recommended a town manager. Mary Glassman was in favor of having a town manager when running for first selectman. I hope this time Mary Glassman will deliver on her promise. We are no longer evolving into a town manager. We are ready for the change. Simsbury's mill rate is the highest in the surrounding towns, making us less competitive for house sales and economic development. The towns with the lower mill rates have a town manager. A town manager serves at the pleasure of an elected council and is accountable to them and can be replaced. A first selectman is elected with name recognition, could remain in office for years with no experience in professional public policy management, as opposed to a seasoned town manager with years of experience. One would not want to hire a superintendent of schools who was a member of the PTO with no professional skills to manage our schools. Why continue to have an elected first selectman? The experienced town manager would be paid a salary equal to the task. Knowing how to manage costs and understanding the complexities of government will lead to fewer costly mistakes. When you have a professional town manager, you have one responsible voice, not shared or conflicting responsibility with a pseudo town manager. Town government is a complex institution, and tax dollars should be spent wisely. A documentary on YouTube discussing the council manager form of local government and the need for professional management should be reviewed by everyone on the Charter Revision Commission. This documentary will be shown on SCTV to educate the public about the need for a town manager. I would urge this commission to have an open mind and do what is the right thing for Simsbury. It is time for professional town manager. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Coe. Anybody else who would like to speak? Please.
Alan Needham, 2 Basswood Lane. I'm just going to give you a list of things I hope you cover. Specifics, now that I understand what the chair has said about certain meetings will be dedicated to certain topics, I'd rather wait to comment till then. I hope that you address public audience. Now, that comes up every charter revision. The conversation lasts about a minute. Some people start to complain about the nature of public audience. Don't blame me. I've been the victim of that myself. Nevertheless, in a democracy, sometimes you have to take your lumps. Public audience is a great tool to vent public frustration. All you have to do is go to land use hearings and you'll see people come preloaded with the notion that the system doesn't work for them. If you allow people to say their mind, you can limit what they say to 2 or 3 minutes. Bob will give you some really good arguments about not doing it in zoning. I've heard them, I buy them, I don't agree with them. In Enfield, they have public audience at zoning hearings. If somebody starts to stray into a topic where there's an application, the chair just stops the conversation. He explains beforehand that we will not be talking about things that are pertain to an application. If we did that, I think we would do away with a lot of the frustration we see at public hearings. People show up, they think it's already pre-decided before they get there. I would like to change that. You may be talking about, I bet you do, about joining planning and zoning. I'll talk to that when it comes up, but I would urge you not to do that. Frankly, I've been on conservation, I've been on zoning, I've been on planning, I've been on Economic Development Commission, and I'll tell you bluntly, too many commissioners show up unprepared. Too many commissioners don't do their homework, too many don't read their own documentation, too many don't study the papers that are sent out. And if you're going to double the workload, you're going to double that problem. To ask the Zoning Commission to become intimately familiar with the Plan of Conservation and Development, to become familiar with subdivision regulations, I think is not going to yield a good result. I'll speak to that later. I would also like to have design review return to its former status, where they were appointed by the Board of Selectmen. Design review is not what it used to be. It used to be an award-winning group. I understand that some people had some issues with the chairman. I understand that there were some frustrations there. I understand that the communication could have been better on both sides, but that's no reason to gut what used to be a very, very good commission. I've been to a few of the new design review board meetings. What I see is a group that's totally dominated by zoning at a time when zoning has a lot of power. Planning, for example, is completely out of the Hartford. I understand the reasoning, but that's a fact. The more eyes we have on some of these applications with these new floating zones, the better. The more opinions we have, the better. So to cut planning out, to have design review just be more or less a puppet of zoning, I don't think serves the community well. Design review is only advisory. Why not let them run their own show? The way it works now, I've been to some of their meetings. Some of the zoning folks sit in the back seat, in the back row. They tell them when to make a motion. They tell them what the motion should be. They don't even know how to run their own meeting. The old design review board was very good, very efficient, a little controversial sometimes. That isn't going to kill anybody. Those are the three things that I'd like to have placed on your list. I'll be looking forward to that when it happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else who would like to address? No? Okay. Has anybody had a chance to look at the minutes yet that we were given today? Yes. Anybody?
Yes, I
Is any objections, any comments on them at all?
I thought it looked pretty good. Both looked good.
I have one comment to the August 31st. Just on page 1, first paragraph, calls to order, first line, it's nominated as the regular meeting of the Simsbury Charter Revision Commission, and it was a special meeting.
Did you get it to
The
us?
change was made up
You
top,
mailed it to
but
us.
not to the body of the document.
I did.
Any other comments? With that change, can I get unanimous consent to approve both sets of minutes, please?
So moved.
Chairman, can you separate them? Because I need to abstain from one of them.
Okay, sure. Which one are you going to abstain from?
The 21st.
Okay. Can I get unanimous
Take them
consent on August 31st?
I'll take them separate.
One more point.
I'm just getting, wait.
Just one other point. I believe that under action items, also on the August 31st item, it states that Ms. Glassman, let me see how many lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 lines down, with respect to I'm sorry, 6, 7 lines down. For the secretary position, Ms. Glassman again asked for an unaffiliated voter. I believe that what Ms. Glassman asked for was somebody who was newer. The unaffiliated voter was for the, her suggestion for unaffiliated was for the chair, but I don't believe that unaffiliated was her original idea with respect to the secretary position. Does anybody else have a recollection about that?
Yes.
Do you have my same recollection, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. So I would propose that instead of saying Ms. Glassman again asked for an unaffiliated voter, it would say Ms. Glassman suggested a newer
Member of the community?
newer member to
Okay.
town
Okay.
volunteering. So-
Okay, then on August 31st, with those two changes, can I get unanimous consent to accept the meetings, the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, September 21st, Ms. Glassman is going to abstain, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any comments on those minutes at all? Anyone? Okay, other than Ms. Glassman, can I get unanimous consent to accept those minutes? Okay, just so you know, if I ask for unanimous consent, I don't have to move anything. It just goes. Okay, so we have minutes approved. Now, did everybody get a copy of the potential schedule?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this actually says, okay, this is for the regular meetings, which we're just discussing those now. Is everybody good with those?
I am.
Any questions?
I am.
Okay. Any no? Now, are we going to start those at 5:30? Have we agreed to that?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
5:30.
Okay, so unanimous consent to accept those dates and times. Okay, no objection. We have two, let me get the paper in front of me here, hold on a second. We have two special meetings coming up because of the time frame. One is October the 15th, and you took my piece of paper, did you get it back to me?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Tom, do you have the date on that? So I don't have to look for it?
The 29th.
Special one?
Okay, great, the 29th.
The 29th would be the...
Okay, those two meetings we're also going to have at 5:30.
What are the dates on those again? October 15th and October 29th.
Both Thursdays.
I won't be at either one of those.
Okay.
I'll be traveling.
Okay. What we're going to try and do with those meetings, I'm going to put on the first meeting 3 items. We probably will not get to all 3, but if we do, that'd be great. If we don't, we'll roll it over into the next meeting. What I want to put on that is the agenda. The first one is the gender neutrality issue. And the second will be content of public notices for the budget. And the third would be budget prep and budget referendum. Now, Tom, we haven't gotten the charters from the other towns yet?
We have not.
Okay. All right, for those 3 particular items, I don't think they're really necessary anyway, but if you can start getting somebody on that, that would be great.
Absolutely, we have.
Okay.
You're on it.
Okay, great.
Did we have a location for the meetings?
I'm-
Some of us have a problem.
Any place that you aren't.
Okay.
Wherever you don't go.
I'm going to get you, well, forget that, I'm not going to say that. Okay. And what I will do is, for the next special meeting, sometime in the next week or so, I will send out the agenda items for that. And once again, I'll roll it over if we don't get to everything on the 15th.
What? I don't recall, why did you bring 15th?
Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Or Thursdays?
Yeah, we're doing, and most months, it's going to be, what, the first and third Thursday of the
Correct.
month?
Right.
Because there was another body that we conflicted with, and we wanted to avoid that. My hope is that by the end of the second special meeting, we'll have done at least 4 of the less involved items, possibly 5.
Do you
And
have an
then,
idea for the 29th?
Well, we possibly might end up with budget prep still. I would go, let me see where I wanted to go from there. Permanent committees will probably come up on the second meeting. And also, we just got in the mail today 2 items from from other committees or commissions or whoever it was
From the assessor's
We're gonna take a
office.
look at those.
Right.
We might deal with the assessment issue. That's why I just want to look at those a little bit more detail before I decide what's going to go on there. Okay, Anita?
I really like this room. I think it fits our group better.
Okay,
If we could have a preference to use this room each time,
okay, we'll try.
would that be?
We'll certainly try, Anita. I think that's what we did try to do. Because actually, because of the size of the group, the
Yeah.
main meeting room is the worst place for us.
Yeah.
It's just- But I can go back and take a second run at it before and where I can find, where it's available, I'll just make the change to the memo and we'll move forward that way.
Okay, that's actually really it. Does anybody have anything they want to add to any of this? Anyone? You can all go home, thank you.
I love this committee.
I get people out there.
Good, how are you?
Good, I heard you were, are you sick, or were you sick, or?
No, I was in Italy.
Oh, something. Italy's.
Oh, I was there after you left. Yeah.